Hello, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good day, good whatever it is, wherever you are in the entire world and perhaps even the universe. I'm Black Dragon, John Edward Bunch II, one of your hosts on Think Tactical, and I have with me tonight my two good buddies, colleagues, and co hosts, Coach Myron Petro and Stingray Bob Coleman. Go ahead and say hello, guys. What's going on tonight?
Hello. Good night.
Hey, good evening, John.
We had like this dead zone for a minute. You guys, we have to fill the air with stuff here. We are the music. How you guys doing tonight?
No dead air. No dead air.
No dead air. We're new to this, folks. This is only our third podcast in the Think Survival or Think Tactical Survival series. Think Tactical and our website, thinktacticalnews.com. And I know we said Think Tactical, what was it last time?
TV.
Thinktacticaltv.com. But we have changed it to thinktacticalnews.com. So that's how you get a hold of us. I'm going to try to stop saying so many ums. But we are new to podcasting, and we're trying to get it together, and we're having a blast at it. And if you guys have been following us, and we hope that you all are, and you continue to follow us, we are going about trying to create a show that keeps you in the know about things going on to keep you tactically prepared and tactically aware to protect your families and keep yourselves together, as it were, as one unit, safe and sound, in this world where so many crazy people lurk who are trying with everything they can to take us out. And so myself and my two colleagues, Bob and Myron, have come together with Think Tactical to provide you all kinds of information to help make your tactical life better. Help make you safer for what you're going to be doing with your families. Help you understand strategic thinking and keeping yourself and your family alive. That's what we're about here, and that's what we're trying to do. What do you think, Myron?
I think it's a great idea. We're sharing information, we're sharing knowledge, and using real-world examples to convince, because some people aren't convinced that they need to do this. And there is so much going on out there that really, sometimes that's half the battle, just realizing that you've got to do something. And the right thing to do is what we're trying to get across, and to help people. There's home invasions all the time. I was just reading a story that we're going to put out there where the police decided to raid the wrong house and kill the two homeowners.
Wow, that's crazy.
Things like that. Our thing with a layered approach to security will help you to the point where you'll know somebody's coming before they get there.
So that even if the police make a mistake, which they don't always do, but even if the police make a mistake and decide that it's your house that they need to take out, perhaps they won't take you out because you haven't committed any crimes and you knew they were coming before they got there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So, Bob, you have some statistics for us tonight. So let me paint this picture for you. So, this home invasion burglary thing, home invasion robbery, these things seem to be happening more and more as times are getting worse, and people are getting bolder and emboldened, and the me generation feels more like they are owed something. So more folks want to take things than work for them. So here you are in your home, in your shower, enjoying enjoying your home in your shower, and all of a sudden, somebody, and we'll paint this picture. You guys all remember the Norman Bates movie, Psycho, and the woman is in the shower, enjoying her shower, and this fool comes in, and anyone that's ever seen that movie, oh my gosh, it's just the most the most intimate place when you are the most exposed, and there's somebody stabbing you to death, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's that whole psycho thing, and it's terrifying, and it comes from a home invasion type scenario. And we want to talk about a neat thing that we talked about on thinktacticalnews.com. We have one of our first articles up there is about a do-it-yourself shower gun box. And it's kind of funny. It's a waterproof box that you can put your gun in when you're taking a shower, and you can build it yourself for about $15. And we were thinking about all of the things that have to happen for an intruder to be in your home in your shower with you. And so we kind of thought that that would be a good subject for tonight. And so, Bob, you put together some statistics that talk about home invasion burglaries. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, the U.S. Department of Justice put out a set of statistics, if I can get it out of my mouth right, for the years 2000 to 2010. It basically set up a 3.7 million home invasions and burglaries per year over that 11-year period. It's an average of 3.7 million per year. Out of those 3.7, an average of 1 million of those occurred with the occupants, the homeowner or the resident at home at the time. And out of those 1,266,000 turned violent per year. Now the interesting that's a lot of violent incidents. And the interesting thing, jumping down to the bottom, residents with single women were most often the targets for those invasions, and single men were second, and families followed on down from there. Rental properties were higher than owned properties, and you can kind of figure that one out. But and most often, 61% of those, the home invader was unarmed, so that gives you something. 12% they were armed with a firearm, and 27% with some other weapon, a club or a knife. So 39% of the time out of those 266,000 per year, the home invader had a weapon.
And if you don't have a weapon, if you have no other way to defend yourself, any weapon will overpower you.
All right. Absolutely. So that's a lot. That's just, those numbers are staggering. It's not just the other guy. It's not the guy or the gal next door. It hits close to home. How many of us know someone that this has happened to? How many of us know someone that's been robbed or burglarized or even murdered? These numbers are outrageous, and we have to think of protecting ourselves even when we think that we have nothing to be afraid of, because it's always the next guy that's the victim until it's you. And then when it's you, what are you going to do? So, I don't know, Bob, we were talking about some ways to, we talk about the shower gun, the do-it-yourself shower gun box. And it's a really cool thing I was telling you guys about a little earlier, where you can have this gun in a box that can't get wet, and you're standing in there showering, and this article over at thinktacticalnews.com tells you how to build it for $15. And the first thing, Bob and Myron, you guys started talking about, well, a lot of good that does you, because by the time you know someone's in the shower with you, it's too late. So, Bob, what were you thinking about some of the things that we have to kind of know about that could happen to prevent, you were saying we got to do some preventative measures before we're depending on the gun in the shower box.
Well, Myron talked about it. It's a layered approach to your security. Basically, I have a home alarm system. I have a couple of four-legged alarms. They're always a good thing. I believe in the electronic alarms. I have webcams with IR capability on them. Obviously, I would not have my cell phone in the shower with me to be able to pull those up. But the idea is to get some sort of alert before they actually enter the bathroom with you if you're in the shower. Only in that instance would you be able to actually have the opportunity to deploy that gun in your shower box. It's a nifty idea, but without these extra measures, you're liable to get bludgeoned with your own gun.
So Myron, what is IR? Bob just mentioned IR. What is IR?
It's infrared capability where the cameras pick up on the body heat. If you watch any of the shows like Live PD or some of the other shows, you'll see the cameraman going in and you'll see everybody kind of in green. Well, that's the night mode. They're not actually using lights. They're actually picking up the infrared body signatures, and it allows you to see in the dark. That's
Wow.
what a lot of the night vision stuff works on. Technology has gotten so good and it's come down so cheap that it's real easy to put it on security cameras.
So you have these cameras around your house with the ability to see into the night. There's
Right,
no blindness.
exactly.
The cameras can see at night. And so how do these cameras outside your house help you when you're inside your house in the shower?
Well, first of all, you can use them to pull them up on your phone and all. Now, when you're in the shower, obviously you can't pull like Bob said. I don't have my phone in the shower with me, but you can have it fairly close by. The other thing is on layered approach. I myself have motion detector security lights.
Mm-hmm.
Those motion detector security lights, a lot of times they deter somebody because they want to get into your house without being seen by your neighbors, especially if you're in a neighborhood. They want to get into your house without being seen. When those lights start going off, it usually makes them back off because now all of a sudden, the light going on, it grabs the attention of your neighbors. When my neighbor's security light goes on, I look outside and see what's going on. Sometimes it's just his German Shepherd going outside. But a quick look tells me that back, without taking too much time. That's the first layer. Your first layer should be before they get to your house. There should be something you can also wire those motion detector lights up to your system so that you get a warning. Hey, this motion detector light just went off in your backyard. That type of thing helps you get you more time. Anything you can to buy you time. Barking dog. There's motion detector lights. Locked doors. I mean, you don't leave your doors open all night, do you? No,
Well,
because
there are many people that do. There are many people that live in neighborhoods where they leave their doors open all night long.
and that could make them targets. Makes you easy targets because now you don't have a door to slow them down coming into your house.
So we're talking about this layered approach to security. For any of you who are just now tuning in, thanks for tuning in to Think Tactical. And you can find us at thinktacticalnews.com. There we have an online magazine, and you guys can go there and see all of our stories. We are just collecting stories about how to think and how to be tactical and how to protect your families and keep everybody safe and sound. I've got my co-hosts and colleagues here that I've known for for at least 15 years. I have Coach Myron Petro and Stingray Bob Coleman. These are our names. I'm Black Dragon, John Edward Bunch II. And so, like I say, if you're just tuning in, we were talking about this thing that comes from the movie Psycho that we saw, where the woman was killed in the shower, and we just did over at thinktacticalnews.com an interesting story about a guy who has built a do-it-yourself gun box that you put in the shower. It's waterproof, and you can now have your pistol in the shower. So, as I was talking about this article, I thought it was such a cool idea to have this gun in the shower. And Myron and Bob, of course, brought up the points that by the time you know someone's in the shower, someone's in the bathroom with you, that might be just way too late to draw a weapon. So Myron had come up with this idea of a tactical layer approach of security, a layered approach of security. And in this layered approach, the idea, Myron says, is to buy yourself time by having things that can keep the intruder between the outdoors and you, or between your security setups and you, for a longer amount of time while you get a chance to get prepared to do what you have to do. So the first thing Bob talked about was cameras outside and that sort of thing. So, Bob, where are we next? What's the next thing?
Well, the next thing would be some sort of a weapon of your own choosing to protect yourself in the event somebody does come in. The other way to slow somebody down is to reinforce your entry points, your doors. Your average home construction door frame is not much better than kindling wood as far. That's why you can see people kick them in so easy. And it doesn't take a whole lot. You can probably go on YouTube and look this up. People have some very simple mechanisms: a metal strip, a piece of wood, something that can reinforce the interior of the door frame to keep it so it's not quite so easy to kick in. They're still going to get in if they are determined, but it slows them down. Again, buying time for you to either get your hands on a weapon, dial 911, escape the house, whatever it is you plan to do. Time is an important factor. So anything you can do to slow down a home invader will give you that opportunity to take your next step, whatever it is you're going to do.
That sounds like a good video for us to do, Bob. Even just something as simple as getting longer screws for your strike plates and your hinges so that they're not just screwed into the door frame, but actually the longer screws will get you into what's called the jack studs, which are the studs that actually hold up your wall and hold everything up.
So you can
and if you
put
get into
longer
those,
screws
they're a
in,
lot harder to rip out and break out.
So you can put longer screws in your door that make it harder to kick in or break out. That's really doesn't sound like an expensive fix.
No, it's very simple to do. You can go and get the long deck screws at any of the hardware stores or local supply houses, and all you have to do is replace your hinge screws, take them out one at a time, and get yourself a good, heavy duty drill and screw them right into. You'll get into the jack studs. You get them about 3.5 inches long. You'll be into the jack studs around your frame. That's where the strength of your door frame really is.
So you mentioned four-legged alarms. Having dogs in the house or something like that helps, because a lot of us, our dogs are going to go crazy if somebody comes in the house. But Myron, you pointed out that an undisciplined dog is just as bad as the boy who cries wolf.
Yeah, if your dog constantly barks, I have a friend who has Chihuahuas, and they bark at any little noise, anything inside the house. They're just noisy little almost rodents. Sorry to Chihuahua owners, but they bark and bark constantly. And my friend, when they bark, he doesn't even get up or check it anymore. And I've got a miniature dachshund that's pretty good. When he hears something, he'll bark and go over to where he hears it. I'll check it out. He doesn't constantly bark, which is a good thing. But when he barks, it might be nothing. Most of the time it is. Sometimes it's, my wife coming home, or my son coming over. So you've got to learn, get your dogs a little disciplined for that, and get to learn what their trigger points are. And that's why it helps to have a dog who's, do a little bit of training. Yelling at them for barking doesn't do you any good, because then the dog just won't bark at anything. So it's best to praise him when he barks at something right, and tell him no when he barks at something that's worthless.
Absolutely. So, in a think tactical situation, you guys are talking more about securing your home and having a layered approach to security, more so than depending upon the gun in your gun box in your shower.
That's right. Using your gun should be almost your last resort.
Yeah, but deterrent is what you want to go for up front. You don't want to be one of those 266,000 that turns violent, even if you're the one that has to put the violence on them, because Myron can tell you that that's not a fun thing to go through. So the best thing you can hope for is a deterrent, and dogs are a high deterrent. I mean, if you go to the statistics, they are a big deterrent for home invaders. They hear a big woofing dog, they're going to go someplace else. It's an easier target. They're not going to want to mess with a dog.
So,
Alarm systems the same way. They're going to try to avoid places with alarm system. Places like Myron's talking about has motion detecting lights on the exterior of the house. They want easy targets. They want the dummies to keep their doors unlocked. The ones like some of the ones in my neighborhood to keep the garage doors up, which I'm just like, well, that's just an invitation. Because especially the ones where the garage door don't even face the street. They can, somebody could sneak in. You won't even know they're in there, jimmying the door because they've left the door open.
so Myron said an interesting thing. He said that you can get those outdoor lights that will actually let you know if someone trips the light. You might get a something on your cell phone or some kind of an alarm of some sort in the house that says, "Hey, the light outside is on."
It's true, and that's what my one daughter, her house, they have cameras all around, and when their motion detector lights go on, they get a message on their phone that tells them, hey, the backyard light went on, or the front light went on, or the garage light went on, and they can check into it.
Okay, so let's think about this gun box for a minute. Uh, the gun box in the shower, and you actually have a gun in your shower. So for people that actually do this, we're going to have some folks out there that are going to look at that gun box on that article on thinktacticalnews.com. They're going to go look at our article, and they're going to build a do-it-yourself gun box for $15. What are the pros and cons? What safety measures do you have to have in place if you're going to have a gun box in the shower?
Well, you have to know the rest of your family and what they're doing. And anytime you do have a firearm for self-defense, you still have to know, you still have to be aware, you have to be ready to use it, but you also have to be ready not to use it. If your spouse comes home early unexpectedly, or if one of your other family members comes over for whatever reason, if they have a key to your house and they come in, they should let you know when they're going to do that, but a lot of times they don't. But if that's where you're disciplined, and I advise people, and we will constantly harp on this, if you have a firearm, get some training. There is plenty of training available out there. There are plenty of good instructors. The NRA is a good place to go. They have a Refuse to be a Victim class, and they have trained instructors that will teach you and help you get that discipline so that you're not panicking when you grab the firearm. You're ready, but you're ready to use it. And you're also being aware of why you have to use it.
So, Bob, you got the gun in the water closet in the shower with you. So, what are some of the things you're thinking about? What are some of the safety precautions you have if you have such a setup in your home?
Well, I'm lucky. I mean, my children are grown, so I don't have to worry about small children. And if you have a house that has small children in it, the one of the key points is you keep your firearms locked up at all times if they're not on your person. So something that if I was going to use something like that, it would be carried in with me and carried out with me when I was done, even in this situation, because I don't want a gun in my shower all the time. That's personal preference. I keep loaded weapons within reach when I'm sleeping. That's just the way I am. That's the way I've always been. I don't want to be one of these 266,000 that in DOJ record book. So I would just for a whole lot of reasons I would take the gun in and out with me if I was going to use one of those boxes. I haven't decided yet myself. I looked at the article. I thought I was intrigued by it. Yeah, the guy basically went down to his local Walmart, went to the sporting goods sections, bought this waterproof box for $10, and then bought the suction cups and the other pieces to hang it in the shower and the hardware section in the same store. So it was pretty interesting. He had a few false starts on exactly how to hang it, and it looks like he's using a snub nose 38 revolver. But the box is of such a size that a 38, a small automatic, whatever you wanted to put in there that you're comfortable with, would work. But for the sake of the weapon as well as my own peace of mind, I'd probably take it in with me and take it out with me when I use it.
So one of the precautions is you don't want to handle it when your hands are wet with soap, huh? So that to me that's very interesting. You say if you had small kids or even adults that were on an age and needed to be looked after, that is you only have the shower box gun utilized when you're in the shower. And after you're done with your shower and everything like that, then you take the gun and you put it back in some kind of a lockbox. And that's you were talking about yesterday. If you have kids in the house, you always want to have some kind of a lockbox. And that's
Or have the gun on your person. When my kids were younger, I just knew I made sure that I had control of the loaded firearm, whether it was on my person or whether it was in a box by the nightstand. But I had control of it. If it's on my person, then the kids can't get to it,
not
and
even by
it is
accident.
under my control.
Right. Not even by accident. If it's under your control. I never thought of that before. But if it's under your control, then there's absolutely no one that can get it but you.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've gone over some interesting dialogue here. We've talked about layers of security. Your home should be a place that has layers of security. Bob mentioned having reinforced doors, which I know that Bob has reinforced the doors at his house, right, Bob?
Yeah, that's correct. I've used a number of different methods. I'm glad Myron mentioned the longer screws. That was like the first one. That's the easy one that everybody can do.
And so then we also talked about alarm systems. We've talked about night lights. You can even have cameras in your house. You can have motion activated types of things that put alarms or a little bell or something that goes off in the house to let you know people are out there. I know folks that have security cameras that they can see everything that's going around outside their house. And so these layers of security are meant to, as Myron says, slow down, if not stop, an intruder, to make your house hardened, where people don't want to come into your home. They'd rather go someplace else. And in our last series, we talked about my stint in the Navy, and I talked about the idea of roaches being all over the place, but making your locker hardened so the roaches will go to other people's lockers and not yours. So you guys need to get over to our podcast on Spreaker, which of course is called Think Tactical. You can get it on Spreaker.com and listen to that podcast. I think you guys will have a lot of fun with it. So I say that to say that you can make your place hardened where the criminals would want to go someplace else, and that's what Myron was talking about, making your place more hardened where it gives you more time, but it also makes your place look uninvitable, unwanted to criminals. And that's kind of what's on our mind. And then all the way down to if all those steps have been breached, you do have your firearm and you can use it with the caveats of thinking about all of the people that might be in the house, someone surprising you, someone trying to be funny and play a joke on you. You don't want to shoot the 16-year-old who wants to surprise you in the shower. These are all the things you got to think about, but still being vigilant. And if we go back to our last podcast, we're talking about Cooper's laws of awareness, situational awareness, and the color codes. And Myron, if you could remind us what those color codes are.
Well, there is the white, which is you're in a complete non-aware mode, which you should only be when you're sleeping. And the next is yellow, which you should be all the time. Yellow is you're not in a panic mode, or none of these are for panic. All these are for just be aware of what's going on around you. You be in yellow mode when you're sitting in your living room, and be aware if the neighbor's dog is barking, or if your security lights go off. It's that awareness that, oh, let me check it out, let me see what's going on, rather than sit there and say, hey, I'm still watching my TV, I don't care, I'm ignoring it. That would be condition white. The condition yellow is you're aware of what's going on and what's happening around you. You're aware of the people if you're outside. If you're driving on the highway, you're aware of how the cars are acting around you. That would be yellow. Orange is the next step. Orange is the step where you have a potential perceived threat, whether it be the car in the next lane swerving back and forth, like he's had too much alcohol or drugs, or it be you're in your house and there's a loud noise right outside your house. Now there's a potential perceived threat, so you go to condition orange, and now you check it out and see what do you need to handle that situation. Red is the final stage where you've got the threat is real. You've determined that the loud noise outside your house was somebody trying to kick your door in, or somebody trying to break into your car. So now you go to orange. You have a threat. You go from orange to red. Red now you have to figure out what do you want to do. How do you want to deal with the threat? If it's somebody breaking into your car, best thing to do is just call the police. Get your weapon, barricade yourself in your house, and be ready in case they decide hey, the car's not enough, I'll break into your house. And the final one, which we haven't spent much time discussing, is condition black, where the fight is on.
Right.
Escape and evade is a better choice than getting into the fight and actually because fights don't always work out the way you want them to.
Right.
But if you have no other choice, you're backed into a corner, then the fight has to be on. We had an example a couple of years ago of a woman at home with her kids, and this guy started breaking into the house. She went and they locked themselves up into a crawl space up near their attic, but she was smart enough to take her revolver with her. And this guy, even though she was yelling, she told him, I called the police and I'm armed. He decided he was still going to try to get in there and get her. Luckily, she emptied 5 shots into him. Didn't kill him. Obviously, she needs more practice. But it did save her and her kids because the guy did stop. But that was her last resort. She tried to evade by taking her kids into what they considered a secure area, and the guy kept coming. Well, that's why you have the firearm when you need it.
Right. So I would say that, I don't know if you guys agree, but I would say that white would be in your shower, just showering away and oblivious to the world around you. And condition yellow would be the things that we've talked about tonight to get yourself set up and prepared. Not paranoid, not scared, not shaking, not afraid to take a shower, but a little bit more prepared in case something happens, that you are ready to take the initiative to defend yourself and your family, even in your most vulnerable, intimate position, even when you're just in the shower taking some personal time with some candles or whatever it is that y'all do. And someone decides that they want to be in your space and you don't want them there, you still have the means with your do-it-yourself shower gun box to protect yourself. Listen, we would like to thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with us. We want you to make sure to check out our online news magazine at thinktacticalnews.com. Now, you can get our podcast that comes on weekly at Spreaker. It's called Think Tactical. This podcast is full of all kinds of tips, and you can use it when you're driving down the road or when you're just hanging out in the house or when you need something other than the radio. Tune on into Think Tactical so you can learn some things. Also, our YouTube page is called Think Tactical, and our first YouTube video is going up tonight, so we want you to go over to our YouTube page called Think Tactical and check us out. So there's many ways to get our information. Think Tactical on YouTube, that's our YouTube channel. ThinkTacticalNews.com is our online magazine, and Think Tactical is our podcast. So you guys have anything you want to say before we say goodnight, guys?
No, just be safe out there and be aware.
Bob?
Don't be a statistic.
Don't be a statistic.
We're teaching you to be survivors, not statistics.
There you go.
Be a survivor, not a statistic. Don't get too comfortable. Stay aware. Watch your six. Take care of your family. And always, thanks for tuning in and think tactical.